question that I'm asking is like, do parents know how to communicate their interior life to their children, right? Like how do parents like in our Kerala culture, from all of our contexts, like how do they express their love towards their kids? Because
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of parents just straight up say, "Morning, I love you,"
Yeah.
right? I think it's
There isn't even like a direct proper Malayalam translation for it, right?
right, right. And we've been talking about like how like even if you wanted to express gratitude, like how do you do that
Yeah.
in Malayalam?
Yeah, because nobody says nani like when somebody does something, right?
Right.
Like even if that's the formal word, I guess.
And it's really interesting because like I try to be very intentional about showing my own gratefulness to like adults,
Mm-hmm.
like adults who are from Kerala and everything. Like I've been trying to just do that like in general, right? So like, and I'm kind of an expressive person. Like I really like pour my heart out, you know, and then to no fault of their own, they don't know how to receive that.
Okay, money.
Yeah, they'll just say, "Oh, okay," and then they just kind of brush it off. And
Yeah.
like to some extent, like I guess it kind of hurts on my part because I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't." They didn't receive it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
my intentions didn't go through. But at the same time, this is why we're having this conversation. Like they just don't know how to do that,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know why they don't know how to do that, but there's something there.
Yeah, and it could also be like this unspoken language that we just haven't adapted to, right?
Right. So it's not me saying that like it's all on the parents,
Oh, yeah,
right?
no.
But like it's something that us as like the younger generation, something that we have to be conscious of.
Yeah.
When we communicate with the elder generation, right? And it's something that I think about. It's just like how much of all of this that we've just talked about, like how much of all this is just simply a misunderstanding, right? Like how much of this is, I mean, to call it out for what it is, how much of it is just like simply pride,
Yeah.
or just like not knowing how to like properly love the other,
Mhm.
right? In a way that is honest.
Yeah.
Because in terms of like my own affective formation, like my education in this area, right? Like I credit my dad a lot because my dad would get in high school and stuff, like we would get into like these fights and these bickering and whatnot, and these misunderstandings that sometimes it's just straight up like language.
Yeah.
Like my inability to like express myself correctly, and then his inability to express himself correctly. But anytime that happened, anytime we got into a fight, afterwards, he would always come and apologize to me.
Mhm.
And that I still remember that very clearly. And I know he does this with my other siblings too. Like he's always had this ability to let down his walls. If there was pride in that mix, he always was able to lay that down. And whatever misunderstanding was, it never got in the way of him expressing his love towards me. He was always able to say, like, Josh, like, I'm sorry for getting angry.
Yeah.
And that really spoke to me, and it spoke volumes to me about, and I think this is kind of the resolve to the situation, about vulnerability,
Mhm.
about just really being able to speak to the other person, to express yourself. Yeah, that's been huge. I mean, I know that you kind of have like a similar experience.
Yeah, I think same thing with my parents, especially my dad. I think the humility aspect of it is definitely something that like puts me to shame at certain times of like, I my parents clearly were not in the wrong here, and I still don't want to apologize. I kind of just expect them to know it. But then on the flip side, when the situation's flipped, I expect them to apologize, and way more than an apology. And that's something, even as I think about it right now, it's like, yeah, maybe we have those double standards a lot of the times too, that we need to kind of put in check, I guess, in a certain sense.
Right. Like we have to. It's always in a spirit of pride that we create this mindset that it's all on them. Like it's not. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with